Josh, your girl, Black Pop, aka Soda Baby, aka Azuka. And you're not tuned in Soda Talk TV. What it is, shawty? I've been gone for a minute. Now I'm back with a jump off. Going to the club in case I jump off. You know what I'm saying? Happy New Year in case I ain't said that. And yeah, I was gone for a minute doing some podcastings. Shout out to Roundtable Podcast. Shout out to Deuce Breezy for inviting me. And also shout out to Gorgeous Music for having me. Make sure y'all tune in. I'm going to put the link of the podcast I was in the bio so I can check it out. Yeah, and what I've been up to lately, I did the podcast, really just trying to get back in shape, and just discovering happiness and facing challenges of people trying to suppress you, because when you're really who you are, it's just so interesting how you kind of have a secret power over them. You have the power to bring out who they really are. And whether that's in insecurity and them just hating on you, or them realizing what they have and that person cultivating that talent or whatever that may be. But nonetheless, I've been growing, having fun, and being happy. So on today's Soda Talk TV, we're going to be talking about the power of intentions. You can lie, but your intentions cannot. And just simply rejecting what you don't want. And what are intentions? Intentions are the true purpose of why you're doing something. And in order to see the true purpose of why someone's doing something, you would have to know how to identify who's going to waste your time. And obviously, if you ever had anyone waste your time, you would have to study their traits. And just really being aware of them and being aware of what's going on and being able to identify who's for you. And someone who's for you cares about your happiness. And, when you share what that is with them and they try to put it down or say it's unrealistic or try to instill fear in you about what that is, they're simply just not for you. Because I know we've all had those moments where we've told somebody a dream or something like that, and they're talking about what if this and what if that. That's the type of person you need to cut out, because you've had moments where you've told somebody your dream and they're like, oh yeah, that you should do that. Try to connect you with doing other things. And at that point, it's like, who should you really listen to? And that's when you really have to decide what type of lifestyle you want and what type of vision you want. And if it doesn't align with them, you don't need to be with them. Simple. To me, what's realistic is having a place to stay, having a way to make money, to sustain yourself, and being healthy to get to and fro. Whether you're walking, taking the bus, you have a car, whatever, that's realistic. Everything outside of that is optional. And if they don't care about your happiness, or because you want to make them happy, don't you? If they don't care about your happiness, they're just not for you. And if you ever studied someone who's going to waste your time, you would realize that dysfunctional people pretty much all act the same. So you have to know how to identify what it looks like when someone's going to waste your time and what that sounds like. Because there comes a time in getting to know yourself and standing on what you deserve where you reach a certain level with yourself that you realize that it's okay to walk away from certain people because they're easier to read. And the sooner you do it, the better. And the easier it is to let them go. And you don't have to go through getting to know them for a very long time to know if you want them or not. And the sooner you do it, the easier it becomes. And the easier it is to let things go. And it's almost like being in a glass house and there's a glass door and watching someone run up to the glass door and knock their head on the door. And it's like, should I open this door? No. Look at their dirty feet. Look at what they have in their hand. And you do that by standing by what you deserve, not budging, and just being present in interactions with them. And take people serious for what they say and what they do. And don't ignore certain things that you know that will be a bigger problem later as you get to know them. And with that being said, stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. You're only giving them the benefit of the doubt because you don't want to believe what they're showing you. Benefit of the doubt. Prove me wrong. And if you want to with me, you can. If you can't, you just can't. And just really be done with people when you say you're done with people, because, people always come back because they're codependent and they're really just testing to see if you're really done, not because they've been working on themselves. So you have to embrace learning how to let people go, because the longer you stay with someone you're not supposed to be with, the harder it is to let them go. And it's simply because you found a way to enjoy relating to them in a negative way. And the more you do that, the more negative, weird traits that you pick up and the more obsessed you become. And now you think it's cute to make your partner jealous or mad or cause havoc because that's the only way you know how to make someone care about you. And that's the only way you know how to feel wanted, because you never learned how to do that in a healthy way. To the unevolved person who's still trying to manipulate for relationships, they call that weakness. But to the evolved person that's working on themselves, that's healthy and healed, we call that opening up. And if you ever opened up to someone and you were met with pushback, or you weren't acknowledged, or they tried to make it about them, and yet you still stayed in that relationship when you needed someone to listen to you or give your vulnerability a safe place, that's your fault for not having enough self-esteem to realize that you need to walk away. That's your fault. And then when you go through that, you start to take those traits and do that with other people. When they open up to you, you try to act like you don't care, or you try to make it about you. And then you try to date people, and then you realize certain people ain't gonna tolerate it, because it's nobody's job to heal you but you. It's not your family's job. It's not your friend's job. It's not the person that you're dating's job to heal you. It's you and your therapist's job. Literally, you're literally mentally ill and you're literally sick. That's why people got to take these depression pills and like that, and download these apps, because you don't know how to really answer certain questions about yourself and face yourself. Because a person can listen to you and give you a safe space, but at the end of the day, you still have to do the work of what that comes with to take care of whatever emotional issues you have. And people keep coming to relationships to work that out. And that's what people come to relationships for, to unload their baggage on people. And they wonder why they can't enjoy them, because that's not what relationships are for. You have to do the work, then you get to enjoy your relationships. And then the mentally sick sex drug addict starts to come and get to know you in the same way they've always went about in relationships, projecting onto you what someone else did to them. And it's like, I didn't even do anything to you. Why are you yelling at me? And then because they're going through things, they think that it's okay that they can just throw their attitude around and think that you'll still stay for that. And it's like, no, you're going through things. Take care of your priorities. And it's really because your energy's split and you're confused and you're trying to do something new in an old way, or because you're still attached to someone who's really destructive and they're bad luck and they're bad vibes, and you trying to attach that to someone who's just not gonna tolerate it. And then you become jaded because you don't want to face yourself, because you run to relationships thinking that they're gonna make you better, and they never do. And then you continue to blame everyone else but yourself. Because there's a lot of value in being single. It's just that you have a certain type of people that put such an emphasis on being in relationships when they're not even supposed to be in one. It's certain type of people out here pushing relationships when they're not supposed to be in relationships at all. Trying to be in relationships while they're mentally ill, drug addicts, and just delusional, linking up with other mentally ill, delusional drug addicts. And then they have kids and teach their kids to be mentally ill, delusional drug addicts like them. Because you never took the time to really understand what singlehood was about. And singlehood is about getting better acquainted with yourself so you don't make certain decisions that you cannot take back. Then motherfuckers talk about anxiety. Anxiety for what? Because you only have anxiety because you have no control over something that you can get control over, but you're too weak to do it. Yeah, you don't have anxiety. You're just weak. And runs your life. Drugs runs your life. Money runs your life. You don't run your life. You don't make your own decisions. You don't think for yourself. I don't have anxiety. I get quiet and I let social awkward silence happen, and I don't give a how nobody feels about that shit. And I don't even remember the last time I was anxious about shit. Probably because I was listening to a mother I don't need to fucking listen to, letting the tell you who you are. No, and ever since I started talking shit on here, ain't never been anxiety ever again. And if you're depressed, do the work and shut the up. Like, for real. I'm tired of hearing about this. Oh, depression. I think we know that already. So what the are you gonna do? We don't give a like, dude, y'all celebrate that at this point. Now y'all celebrating depression. Sit your stupid anxious ass down, bro. At this point, yeah. At this point, we just gotta separate the wheat from the chaff, or however you say it. Because it's so many people rushing to be in relationships. And what does that say? That just says those are people who don't know who they are, who don't want to get to know who they are, and can't stand who they are. Because they have an idea of themselves being a terrible person, and they're probably right. Because we demonize people who we find out that may not be ready for relationships, but we let people who pass, who we know ain't ready for no relationship, while they're still connected to someone trying to figure out a relationship with you. You really have to make the conscious effort to decide to be alone and really look at what you're doing in relationships and be working on being as good as a partner as the one that you're seeking. And people who are fresh out of relationships trying to just date the next day and just like, you gotta see them as hospital patients trying to fresh out the ICU with their IV bag bleeding out, trying to ask you to take this bullet out their chest. No, sit your down. You take it out. I'm not taking that out. Gonna splash all your nasty blood on me. Then the blood, you actually entertain that. Now you got their negative emotions. You got their disbelief in their self. You lack confidence because you tried to entertain it. No, sit your ass down. All in all, when it comes to intentions, people still have to show up to play you. And if you don't know how to identify what that is, if you don't know how to sense a person that doesn't fuel you but drains you, if you don't know how to differentiate the two, if you don't feel like you're being listened to, if you feel like someone's trying to hurry up and get to the point, trying to rush things a certain way, they don't care, and you know what that is. And if you tolerate that, you're only setting yourself up to be a servant to meet someone else's needs because you never figured out your own. And this is why you have to reject what you don't want, because next time they know better, or they just can't with you. Because you're not missing out on anything. You're missing out on the bare minimum, something you wouldn't even give to yourself. You're missing out on abuse. You're missing out on unnecessary stress. And really, you have to build the stamina of walking away and build the stamina of self-respect to even be able to demand certain things, to even be able to know that you're above certain relationships and certain people, and it's just that, you know. And it's really about knowing how to take short L's and letting people go, not knowing when the next relationship will come, but just accepting what it is, make peace with it, and still be okay with yourself and still have those standards, you know. And that's really it. Yeah. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Your girl is back. You know, and yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at It's Black Buck. So talks be my backup page. What else I used to be saying at the end? Oh, make sure I'm gonna comment. Yeah, you know what the deal is. All right.